Welcome once again to another marketing strategy session with your host, Mr. Marketology, the smartest working man in growth business. And today, once again, 5 years later, I have Alex back on the show. Alex, welcome back on the show.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to be back.
It's been 5 years, man. I can't believe it.
I can't believe it either.
And
But we're both getting better looking.
yeah, hopefully. I've got a little bit more gray, but hopefully. Now, when I found Alex, I'm gonna be honest. Alex was all over YouTube for marketing training, and he had videos upon videos upon videos, and it seemed like he was always popping up. So we will talk a little bit about that, but not much. What we're going to talk about today, we're actually going to talk about content creation and how you can wrap courses and marketing material and monetize material around it to build not only a business, but your brand, create more value. So he's good at it. I'm going to sit back and learn from it. That Alex has been doing this for a while. And like I said, he has Problem.io is one of his sites, but we're going to focus on his content. And he's going to talk a little bit about that. So Alex, when you said you have over 800 videos out, you have several courses on Udemy. You have several courses on other platforms. You have books on Amazon. You have video courses on YouTube. You have video on your site and courses on your site. You have little bit of time for yourself because you're building all this content. So, I mean, start from where you would begin with somebody that's like, well, how do you get that much valuable content out? I mean, how do you create it? How do you get it out? So just, if I was a baby coming up and saying, how do I do it? Where do we start?
Well, for me, I started on YouTube, and it was a really good platform for me to start because it's like a playground. You can post any video and my earliest videos were really bad. I had I never presented well. My speech wasn't very good. My lighting, my audio visual, I had nothing. Like if you think of the worst video on YouTube, that's probably you're thinking of me. So, and for me, but I could post 800 videos, and what I saw was that the videos that as soon as I started making better videos, and if I improved anything, my lighting, my background, my anything, the way I present, then the video started getting more views, and they started getting more views and more engagement and minutes watched, and so therefore they started getting monetized a little better. And I think for anyone starting out in YouTube, which is a perfect place to start, it's not the only place to start, but it's a good place. Mm-hmm. It's almost like a playground for you to improve yourself, because for me what happened after a while is, and by no means I'm not a professional still, I'm still maybe an okay amateur, but as you get better you can start monetizing things. And YouTube has had some changes very recently this year about, they restrict monetization for very new users and for very new creators. Yeah. But that's okay, because the very new creators almost make no money anyway. So I mean, it's like $5, hardly $5 per 1,000 page video views. Wow. And so that's a way to the poorhouse, unless you level up your game, unless you really improve your videos, the quality, the marketing, so that your videos can draw a lot of subscribers and can get a lot of views, and then you can make good money on YouTube, because all of their gates sort of open up. And once you start learning, sort of mastering the content creation, then you're probably good enough to make paid video content, which is online courses. So that's sort of the progression I'd kind of recommend, and that was actually my progression.
Okay. So you got started. You didn't have the professional video crew. You didn't have the audio engineer. You just got started, put out what you had, and built it on the content. And as you grew, your audience grew with you. So they started to appreciate how you improved the visual audio effect. But the content was still pretty much the main driver.
Yeah, I was always confident in my content, the advice I was
Mm-hmm.
giving, but everything else was lagging behind. But what I've really found was that because in the beginning you have a lot of financial stress. You're making these videos, they're not paying back. You've got to pay
Yeah.
your rent and everything, and that stress really held me back from taking a step back and thinking, oh, I'm gonna like improve my quality. So instead of
Mm-hmm.
improving my quality, I was like, it's easier to just make more content, more. So
Ah.
in hindsight, that was a little bit of a mistake, because if I had spent more time on the quality of the videos, like now,
Mm-hmm.
you might see them on YouTube, but they have a certain ceiling to them, and better
Mm-hmm.
videos will jump over them and get more views. And so as people make better videos, so if my videos will sort of go down. So
Okay.
the potential for my videos were all about the quality of the videos. So
Okay.
that's the real mistake that I make, and I think a lot of new creators make, is that they focus, on putting out a lot of content, which YouTube does reward regularly published
Mm-hmm.
content, but taking a step back and like buying better equipment, learning how to get the ums out of your presentation, or how to
Yeah.
make your presentation more brisk, or a little bit of editing, all those elements. Imagine if you created one video that's not so good, and the
Mm-hmm.
video that has better audio, better presentation, sharper, faster. Of course, the second video will get more views, more sharing, more likes, and YouTube will reward that with driving more views to it. And
Okay.
so there can be a huge difference in maybe like a mediocre video and a really successful video. So the volume of content that I created wasn't necessary if I had the quality.
Okay. Okay.
So
So.
just to make like a point, um, honestly, to be really successful on Amazon, selling content like books, or YouTube
Mm-hmm.
or Udemy where you sell courses, it's
Mm-hmm.
really like you have to grow yourself as a professional at what you do.
Okay.
It's not just about jumping in and doing it, which is very important to start, but if if you can make yourself a better professional at what you're doing,
Okay.
that's really the key to success in any platform.
Okay. And that's a good point. And nowadays, like I said, this was a long time ago. Nowadays, it's not as hard to give quality recordings with the phones that have higher quality cameras, and the equipment's a lot cheaper now. You don't have to go out and get a industry standard camera. You can do that with your phone, but it is important not to have like fuzzy looking videos and staticky low audio. So that's a good point. And here is what everybody wants to know: how do you make money?
Yeah, that's true. Everybody, that is a favorite topic, and it's a fun one. So, so, so I think unless you're amazing,
Mhm.
YouTube is a way to the poorhouse.
Okay.
It's nice. Like,
Wait a minute. Hold on. Can I
yes,
can I cut you
yes,
off?
yes, yes.
Because I hear this all the time. So and so made millions off of YouTube. So and so, look, they're driving this car. They're showing it on YouTube. They're showing you this house on YouTube. And they said that you can too because they have, and they'll teach you how to do it. And to me, it's like pulling my teeth. I'm looking at it like that's green screen. You can, if you have an eye for it, you can see, or that's rented, or, it's like they're selling you the sizzle. And so you've been doing this for a while. And like you stated earlier, $5 per thousand views, even if you were making millions of views, you have to get up to millions of true views to get that. When it comes to it, besides the myths, the hype, and the hustle, what is some of the better ways to make money off of it?
Well, just to comment on it. So you can become wealthy on YouTube. Sometimes it's correct, but you have to be amazing. You have to be the person who gets a natural, organic millions of views and regular viewership and subscribers and all that. And you really have to be in whatever you're doing. You have to be one of the top people in your niche. So
Yeah.
maybe out of all YouTubers, you're not the 1%. You're like the 0.1 top percent on
Wow.
YouTube, because there's so many creators that struggle, and just so you really have to be super A game.
Okay.
And it's legitimate. A lot of people make good money. Now there's the whole class of people who say, "Hey, do you want to make money online and be rich and not have to work? Well, I got this car, and right, and I can." And I hate those guys, and because I have a business coaching practice,
Yeah.
and their clients who waste a ton of money with them come to
Hmm.
me. Not all of their clients, but a lot of I get like the secondary experience of their clients. I'm like, and they're like, yeah, I tried this program, and all they told me is to go and put up a lot of Facebook ads for my thing and get have that create
Yeah.
them an email. And they just told them like bad, like very rudimentary teaching that these online scammers teach you. But
Yeah.
they,
Hold on.
like,
I just switched my offices. See how beautiful my office is now?
yeah,
And
amazing. You
I'm
must
gonna
be a
switch back.
millionaire.
I'm a millionaire. That's how we do it. How we do it. So let me switch back to my main office so everyone is familiar. All right. And that's how
That's how you
we
do it.
do.
So right, so then there are those guys, and there's so many of them, and every week there seems to be another new scammer who's like a teenager, and he's just like, oh guys, and probably they're living in their parents' basement and stuff. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of those guys,
Yeah.
and but a lot of very naive or desperate people
Yeah.
kind of bite on them on what they're selling, the sizzle, and then
Yeah.
it's very sad because those people usually don't have a lot of money to begin with, and so they're
Yes.
preying on the weak in a sense and ruthlessly just collecting money. So their businesses, those scammers' businesses, can work, but
Yeah.
not very little of the stuff they teach works, because the old joke, right? How do you make money? Like, I'll tell you how to make $1 million online,
Yep.
right? And
Do exactly what I just did. Tell
that's it.
somebody how to make $1 million online.
As soon as you pay
Yeah.
me, that's the secret. Tell other people the way I treated you, do that to them, and
Yeah.
so you got this huge pseudo Ponzi scheme thing happening. But in reality, if it sounds too easy to be true, it probably is.
Yeah.
Although there are some green pastures on the internet. I mean, in 2017, we saw a crazy rise in cryptocurrencies. So sometimes, if it's too easy to be true, if it sounds too easy to be true, sometimes on the internet it has been too true. But with content specifically, I think it's in my journey, and it's I started on YouTube like seriously 2012, 13, and I'm still sort of creating. Now the content I'm creating is more books and courses, which is off YouTube, but so I've been in it for a while. And for me, the name of the game has been always like quality of production and creation, and then quality of the marketing and persistence of marketing. So it's a few things that you have to, if you're a creator, you have to master. And you can't have one without the other, because even if you create the most amazing product, you need to promote it. And and you can't promote poor products because it's an uphill battle. So you have to also learn how to create good product. So the YouTube, it's a good playground, but like when I was starting in 2012, there was no Udemy. It was like I didn't realize I was going to be able to write books. So for me, it was one of the only places to try. Today, the environment's very different. So people can make better money, like Udemy, for example. And so Udemy and Skillshare, they're like the two leading sites where course video training course creators can monetize their content.
Okay.
By packaging them into courses, and they're both much more lucrative than YouTube. So as soon as a new person levels up a little bit, and they have a niche in which they are an expert or pseudo expert, kind of at least have some expertise where they can at least teach beginners, then they can start selling their courses on Udemy and Skillshare. And depending on whether they like writing or want to invest in Amazon, because you can write a book without writing a single word, like by maybe we can get into how to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
But those are the steps, like, and those are like, Amazon, Skillshare, Udemy, those are like greener pastures, literally like greener, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Like like money greener.
yeah,
Yeah.
and and the homework for new people, the homework is really figure out how to like learn how to make good content
Mhm.
and learn how to promote it, and then those are fantastic marketplaces.
Great. Now I've noticed, like I said, you've been doing this for a while, and still some of your content comes up, some of your older content, and that comes from you doing good SEO. That comes from you having good content. So and that promotional uh, campaigns that you put on are still working. So I don't want to because I know that each person's different, and I know that that's what you get paid to do. But when putting on a promotional campaign, what are some of the tips that you would uh, recommend?
Okay, this is a really good question. So today I don't make any content, like none, unless or before I do very extensive keyword research.
Okay.
And the videos that you might see of mine from 2012, the reason that you see them is because you're searching for something probably, or maybe you get the videos recommended to you in the recommended list, but they still, all the videos, they all have some keywords in them
Okay.
that are like, how do you start a restaurant? How do you start a business? How do you promote it? All those topics, they're keywords. And if I was to make a video that's like marketing today, you know,
Yeah.
there's no keyword in that. So it would get the views from my initial subscribers and my initial social media promotion, but that's today.
Okay.
Tomorrow, next week, next year, that video has very little life because
Okay.
no, it's not positioned for discovery. No one's going
Hmm.
to discover it by searching, and because it's not going to have that flow of new views, YouTube, it's going to kind of die in YouTube, and YouTube is not going to recommend it much either.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it has to sort of get on and stay on the radar of, I'm not going to say YouTube, I'm going to say of the algorithm. And the reason I'm going to say that, the algorithm, because Udemy, YouTube, Amazon, they all, their internal algorithm works in very the same way. It's
Yeah.
all about, they measure quality signals, and as
Hmm.
your book or course or video has these quality signals, like videos, like amount of like video time viewed,
Uh
are
huh.
people
Uh huh.
are people upvoting, are they downvoting, all those things that they use to measure. If you have
Okay.
good signals, which really result in how good is your stuff, which is the whole thing
Yeah.
we've been talking about. If you're competitive or better than most people, then they're going to start recommend, not only ranking you in search but also recommending you.
Okay.
And the recommendation algorithm is truly like the secret weapon to everything, because search is very like visible.
Hmm.
It's very easy to be aware, even if you're a new marketer.
Yeah.
But there's a very very big problem with search.
Hmm.
You're never going to get more views or sales or on whatever platform you are. Let's say on YouTube, it's views. Never
Hmm.
going to get more views than there are people searching.
Oh. Okay. Yeah.
Right? That's
Yeah.
the problem, right? It's really good to have that problem because you're at least getting some views, and but you're going to bump up. Even if you're number one, you're bumping up against the ceiling, like there's no more growth.
Yeah.
So, but YouTube is vast. So the way to tap into the vastness of YouTube is for YouTube to start recommending you in the recommended videos that come up on the right side
Yeah. Yeah.
next to the very other popular videos. So when they see you're popular, they're going to recommend you to other popular videos, and not just one popular video, but the goal is the better your video is, and the better it does. It's almost like a snowball effect, and it's a
Hmm.
very uneven snowball effect where all the beginners struggle, but the good videos, they get like exponentially more views and exponentially more promotion. And
Yeah.
so it's that whole quality issue again, because at the very tip of the quality of like people who make videos,
Yeah.
it's really hard to compete in quality. And so you have to get that good, but once you get that good, then your videos start like having crazy views, and then you're that person who honestly gets the millions of views and does well on YouTube. But with that same methodology, you'll do well on Udemy, you'll do well on Amazon, because they all have those recommendation algorithms.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you're gaming, if not gaming is the wrong word, but if you're taking the most advantage of the search and the recommendation algorithm, like
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to do almost anything else, because most people, when they start out and when they struggle, their thinking is like, well, I gotta promote, do so much of my own, like social media promotion and all this, and I'm like, you have to do none of that. I do none of that almost. I'm
Yeah.
like, I got to rank in search, and I have to make sure that my stuff is the best in niche, so that my
Mm-hmm.
stuff gets recommended most. And then I'm sitting back and I have like more time, because I don't have to do daily social media promotion, because honestly, it's a pain. Nobody really wants to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I'll get on my social media high horse that most people aren't seen as much as they think they are actually seen on social media. But that's a whole nother thing. I actually spoke about that last weekend, but that's a whole nother beast. But go ahead, go ahead.
And yeah, you're right. I mean, if you have 1,000 Twitter followers, how many of them are actually going to see your tweet, and how many of them are even bots? Like there's
Yeah.
not even human. So social media, I think, is overrated because it's so easy and it's so there.
Yeah.
But I really like these automated search, not search, just automated marketing strategies, where you can set something in 2012 and still be getting some recognition to it in 2018, which is unreal, right?
Yeah.
So that's my preferred thing, because it's way more productive. I mean, imagine if I had one video that I had to promote daily for like 6 years, I wouldn't have time to create all the other stuff.
Yeah.
So it's also
Yeah.
a productivity tip. It's like a, not a tip, but it's a productivity strategy that I don't
Yeah.
want to be out there promoting. I want to be set it and forget it, like 90% set it and forget it. It's never really done, because
Yeah.
you kind of have to upkeep and do some things, but like aim for like 90% set it and forget it, and then you can focus on creating more content or promoting that content in clever ways, so that you
Yeah.
not promote on like Facebook necessarily just to get the 3 clicks, but like promote to take most advantage of that search and recommendation algorithm, right? That
Yeah.
alignment.
Well, I'm learning something from the guru, because the recommendation engine is not something that I've really focused on in regards to content. I mean,
Most
that,
people don't, and it's like the biggest.
wow, wow. Yeah, that's big. That's really big because you see it all the time, but you just don't, you just assume that it's just random recommendations. But yeah, that is interesting. And you're saying it's basically based on how much engagement you get with your content consistently keeps you in the recommendation engine.
Well, it's kind of like this. So for new people,
Mm-hmm.
they're not going to get a lot of lift from the recommendations. It takes some time for the system to sort of like recognize you and like you.
Mm-hmm.
But if the quality is, if the content is good, it won't be that much time. The So in the beginning, like SEO and social media promotion, it usually drives more traffic. But the goal on like really successful video is that ultimately the promotions will drive more of your engagement. Now on YouTube, you can, in their analytics, they show you that. They show you per video like how many, where the views are coming from. Is it from search or recommendation? On Amazon or Udemy or other sites, you never get that. You never
Yeah.
get that. So it's really hard to know. Like if I get a sale on Amazon,
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea if it's coming from search or my social media or my website or from the for recommendation algorithm. I just don't know.
Yeah.
So and that's why partially it's so hard to even like put that on the forefront of your mind, because other promotional things, they're much more easily graspable, like SEO.
Yeah.
We see it. I'm ranking or I'm not ranking. Social media, I know. Did I promote or I didn't promote?
Yeah.
So the recommendation algorithm is so very much not on the forefront of people's minds,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just like we don't even see the other pages on Amazon where our book is coming up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's really hard to track, and that's why it's hard to notice, and that's why most people have like don't even think about it. But like the trick really to understanding how to get them to the recommendations the fastest
Mm-hmm.
is to think as simply as possible, because at the end of the day, YouTube, Amazon, Udemy, they're there to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're making them money, and they're going to recommend you. Now, what does it
Yeah.
mean? Yeah, it's just like that. Now, what does it mean for you to make you money? There's a few ways they look at it. Of course, on different platforms is different, because, like, let's say for Amazon, for example. So,
Mm-hmm.
like on Amazon, there's the immediate sale. So there's the price of your book and the total amount that your book is generated. So if you have your own promotions, you can sort of boost your book's sort of metrics, right? Like
Okay.
you can promote the book on your own, make some sales, and then on Amazon they're like, wow, that book is outselling a whole bunch of other products.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the immediate, like, revenue total is a huge one on all these platforms.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, it's not the only metric, because let's say that, like, some person posts their content and then it's not very good. They're able to get a lot of immediate sales, but it's not very good. What happens if it's not very good? No one consuming the not very good content will ever consume it from that person again.
Okay.
And so the platform does not make money from that. So
Yeah.
they don't just look at the immediate sales. They look at, like, well, are they buying more items after that, and at what rate? So
Okay.
again, the quality always comes back, because none of these things work without the quality being best in class, or at least competitive in class.
Okay.
And that's really the hardest thing, because understanding these algorithms, okay, fine, like, you can understand them. The hardest thing is to, if you picture a pyramid and, like, um, or even think about it. Sometimes I use the analogy of the draft, like in sports.
Mm-hmm.
Are you, like, let's say you're starting out and you're like the 9th round pick, last pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that, and you got to climb up, and you got to get into the first round, and then you got to get into the first 10 of the first round, right? That quality, when you're like the top 10 of the first round, then you get paid, then you get all the contracts, everything amazing happens. When you're in 9th round, you most likely get cut. And so
Yeah.
everybody starting out, they're like 9th round draft pick, or maybe a walk-on, right? They're not even drafted. So, because even to get drafted, you have to be amazing, even if you're in the 9th round.
Yeah.
So everybody's generally, when they're starting out, they're like just hey, I want to try, right? They're not even drafted, and they have to level up their game. And the more they level up their game, like, everything happens, and when they start competing against amateurs not drafted, it's easy. They can outrank them very easily. If they know little SEO tricks, they can outrank them. But
Mm-hmm.
as soon as they start, okay, they're drafted in the 9th round with other amazing people who are in the 9th round. Well,
Mm-hmm.
it's very tough, right? And they have to work so hard to get to the 8th round and the 7th.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a person starting out, they should kind of see that pyramid, because when you're in, let's say you're the very top in the first round, the difference between, like, the 16th and the 17th, that's
Yeah.
a huge quality gap, right? Like, I mean, it might not
Yeah.
seem to us like that, but, like, maybe one spot can, one person can, in one draft, can, like, jump a couple of spots, but really, at the top of the pyramid, what I'm really trying to say is that to jump up in quality is so much work and so hard. But that's where the real success is. It doesn't matter where you are: YouTube, Udemy, Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, one thing I would say is that if you're on all these platforms
Mm-hmm.
equally, it's very hard to be amazing, because you're kind of spreading yourself a little thin.
Okay.
So it's almost easier to be amazing only at YouTube, or amazing only on Amazon, or amazing only on Udemy, instead of doing all three, because then you're just putting 33% of your effort into it. And
Okay.
when you're competing against the first round draft picks, you got to be zeros. You got to be
You got to
like,
be amazing across the board.
I mean, you got to be, like, zeroed in, right? Super focused on exactly what you're good at, and
Yeah.
make yourself even better at it. So at the top level, I think, everybody has to choose. Like, for example, at the moment, even though it might seem like, Alex, you're saying you should focus, but you got the books, you got the Udemy, you got the YouTube, you
Yeah.
got whatever else. But I'm in my daily work, I'm like 90% is Udemy.
Okay. Okay.
So, and then, maybe 85%. So I am very focused, even though I have, like, now over time, because when we spoke, I was heavily promoting my mobile apps, and that was like 5 years ago. So
Yeah.
over time, I mean, there's like 200 products and services that I sort of created and maintained, but really I just focus on the very, very top of them, trying to make them even a little better. It's because even the
Okay.
slight improvement in quality of those is
Yeah.
a significant difference.
So I think really what you're saying is you tested a few, and then you found out which was the best fit for you, and then you just focused on that. And then the other ones, every now and again you may put something out, but you're really just focused on the one. It's just in order to find what works for you most, you did a little test on a bunch of others, and that makes sense.
That's exactly right. So I think people, when they're starting out, when they're just because they don't know if are books going to be right for me, or maybe other things, or Bitcoin, or like
Yeah,
other parts of e-commerce or courses, is that going to be right for me? So
yeah,
in the beginning, experimentation is key, but experimentation is only good for finding something that, like, you have one thing it's okay, another thing does okay, another thing does okay, and then you have another thing is like does this one is showing more signs of life,
yeah.
and then you're like, oh, I got to double down on that one.
Okay, yeah.
And when you find that one, you really just zero in on that to make it as reach its potential.
Okay. So to get the ball rolling, the stone moving, because it is a momentum thing. Um, would you recommend? Well, I guess it's a personal choice, but would you recommend like just doing video or doing like courses within a whole curriculum, or what would you recommend for somebody that's just starting out?
I think for most people, they have to kind of tap into what they're good at. Like,
Okay.
not everybody can be good at video. I mean, honestly, actually, I wasn't, and I probably still not very good at video. To be honest, the video courses that I make where I'm not on the video,
Uh-huh.
they do way better. Like, if I just do screen sharing, like
Yeah.
show stuff on my screen instead of talking, those courses actually do better. So I'm like a negative to my courses.
Okay.
Without me in in them, they're actually better.
Yeah.
Like without my face and all that. So so, so I think people do have to take into account their talents.
Okay.
The other thing, I think, there's a lot of shortcuts people can take, right? So, like, for example, there's a strategy for how can you write 100 books in a year, let's say. I mean, and
Mhm.
without writing a single word, right? Like, you can
Mhm.
choose topics and talk your book into a recorder, and then have somebody transcribe it, have your cover
Mhm.
made, and you can upload on Amazon, right? And you can just crank them out. But
Yeah.
but then the quality inevitably suffers. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of shortcuts people can take, but I
Mhm.
think it's like, I think during the planning phase of, like, well, what am I really going to do? Am I going to do the courses or the books? I think
Mhm.
people should take a look, like, do they have like a light at the end of the tunnel? Can they become best in class for what they're
Okay.
trying to do? Um,
Okay.
and I think, you know, like I maybe didn't have, like, my presentation wasn't good or anything, but I always believed, like, hey, my advice is good.
Yeah.
So I think people have to kind of tap into that, and from that they'll choose a most natural platform for them.
Okay.
If you just want to speak about, like, in general, I think today, like, courses, they do really well.
Okay.
The e-learning industry, because it's an amazing has this amazing kind of confluence of advantages, in that it's e-learning is really e-commerce.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
you pay directly, so that's really good. And it provides, like, before this, there wasn't, like, before you can sell an online course for like 10, 20, 50, $100,
Mhm.
there wasn't really a digital product that can be sold for more than $10, right? Like the ebooks, right? But the ebooks
Yeah.
are cheap, so it gives this, like, mid-level pricing of digital products that didn't really exist before.
Uh-huh.
And so it's e-commerce, and it's more lucrative than the books, and people want to consume it more readily than the books, because people hate to read.
Yeah.
And and even if they like to read, the courses are just faster because it's video.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it has all these advantages, and for that reason, courses today, they're really good industry. And the only challenge with the courses is that it's very competitive now,
Okay.
because on every topic. Like there's a lot of people making courses because obviously, whenever wherever there's like a dollar to be made on the internet,
Yeah.
everybody jumps on it.
Yeah.
So that's the challenge. But I guess that's not a bad challenge to have.
Yeah. Yeah. It goes back to what you were saying about the quality and the draft picks. You just have to work your way up the draft.
Yeah,
So,
if you work your way up the draft and anything. So I think to be really like, when people start out and they ask for specific strategies, like how do you make money, right?
mm-hmm.
The real key is like you can make okay, you can do okay kind of
Mm-hmm.
with just the SEO, the search engine, the recommendation algorithm, all the tactics, the
Mm-hmm.
short-term stuff, you can do okay. But the people who really do well are the people who they don't focus on that in the beginning, despite how hard it is not to focus on that in the beginning. What they
Mm-hmm.
focus on is improving the quality and making themselves the A player.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
because
they focus on the quality of the content that they're putting out and branding themselves. So, okay.
yeah, then let's say I learned how to make my audio like amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Then every video and audio product that I put out after this,
Mm-hmm.
every one of them for the rest of my career will do that much better financially because that aspect of it is that much better,
Okay.
right? And I just
Okay.
have to figure out it once and then it's easy. Figuring out is frustrating and boring, but once I figured it out, I'm just going to use that same equipment and the same setup, same
Yeah.
the background or video. Like my background now is plain, but like
Yeah.
same. Like I took some presentation coaching and speech coaching last year, and
Mm-hmm.
I got like a lot of not all because I still have a lot of like these bad like parasite words in my speech, but I got so
Yeah.
many of them out of my speech,
Yeah.
and it improved my courses a little bit. So, and that's something you just do from now on, and
Yeah.
everything you do. So for young people, they're like everything you do for the rest of your career is going to do that much better if you just level up your game in some
That
aspect.
is true. That is true. And those courses do help. I know I've taken with the Toastmasters, and it's interesting how it triggers in when you're presenting. My uncle was telling me that I forgot what is my clutch word. There's a clutch phrase that I always say. I think it's not you know what I'm saying. It is you know what I'm saying. My producer said it is you know what I'm saying. So hold on one second, Alex. Ron, could you take this for Wes? He's on his way up to the studio. Thank you. But yes, you know what I'm saying. So but he was watching one of my last presentations, and I actually didn't say it but a few times, just a handful of times. And so it was amazing with that because in my regular talk, I say it often, and I didn't realize I said it often. But with Toastmasters, I have been trained when speaking to a crowd not to say it. So I don't know how many times I said it in this presentation. I don't recall saying it, but that's something that helps, and it does help your professionalism and your quality of work. So that is great advice.
And I think one thing that I've been trying to do is instead of trying to say like or because that's just a filler because you're fishing for what to say next.
Yeah.
And if you just stay silent for that moment,
Mm-hmm. That's what they say. The
actually
pause. Yeah.
pause gives you sometimes. I don't know. I don't know if I really come out more confident, but they say it actually makes you appear more confident and have more poise.
That's what they say. They say that it makes you look like you're a thinker. So you're thinking of the right words to say.
I would be thinking like, wow, that's a slow thinker. There's too many pauses. Like that person is a slow thinker.
Exactly. They don't know what to say. So,
One
but
pause, two
hey,
pauses, okay, but why are they always pausing?
exactly. Well, hey, Alex, thank you so much. We're coming up on the hour. So, um, you have given so many things, and I've learned a lot. Like I said, I've learned things from the guru. Alex has been doing this for a while. Like it's been 5 years and more that he's been putting out quality content. He's actually been making money online with it. And he teaches people how to make quality content and make a living doing it. So, Alex, you can let them know where to reach you. I mean, I know Problem.io, but at the same sense, you have Udemy courses, you have Amazon books. What's the best way to reach you so they can learn more from this actual presentation?
Well, all my courses and books are on I call it problemio.com. There's really no right way. I just kind of made it up.
Well, you know, everybody's doing this IO thing. So I just like, okay,
I
Problem
also did
IO.
the IO thing, but I did IO.com. So it's problemio.com because I thought like people aren't gonna like the IO because most people they don't even know this IO, IE, whatever's, like they just know .com and that's it. I'm lucky if they in the past I had a website comehike.com like a very long time ago, right? And I
Yeah,
thought, man, they cannot get it wrong, right? Come hike, it's like super easy English words, it's even conjugated correctly, right? It's
yeah,
like English language, come hike. And people are like, what's your website? Is it go hiking? Right? And I was like, oh my God, like if they're making that mistake, then I have to make it .com.
yes, yes, definitely.
So yeah, it's problemio.com and problemio.com/courses.html will have links and discounts to all my courses. And I think you're going to have the links to them on
In the
your
show
website as
notes.
well. So,
Yes,
so people should
yes,
go to your website and that's where
yes.
they can easily find it.
Okay, yes, I'll actually have them in the show notes. In some platforms, they'll be in the annotation. You know, some platforms won't allow me to annotate. I'm upset about that. You know, because I mean, it's about bringing value, and people don't want to stop video and go scroll and read. Like you said, most people don't like to read. So, but if I can, I will have them in the annotations. I have them in the show notes, and they can reach out and learn more, and hopefully buy your course so they can actually really dig in and learn. That's
Hopefully.
the goal. Yes, yes. But I'll be picking your brain too. I mean, building courses is something that I've been working at. I just need to release some. I have some in the can. I just have never released it. So, uh,
It's important to launch. Once you launch, it's smoother sailing.
yeah, I might need to update because it's been a couple of years. So I might need to update the course, then launch. But Alex, thanks so much for coming on, and we will definitely chat more often. It won't be another 5 years, and let people know a little bit more how they can grow and grow their businesses.
Cool. Well,
Thanks a
thank you.
lot.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be here and thank you for inviting me.
Oh, great. All right. All right.